I finally had a chance to get my hands on BrickLink Designer Program set, and I would like to share with you my honest thoughts about this specific set. As this set was released on Series 5, you are not able to buy it from the official LEGO website, but I am sure you will find many resellers that would sell you this set for a much higher price. So now, let's have a look and see what this set can offer you. This is Medieval Seaside Market. Let's start with the minifigures. There are 9 in total, and if you think they look familiar, you are not wrong, as almost all of them have appeared in different LEGO sets. Starting with the Lion Knights, you get 3 soldiers, 2 crossbowmen, and 1 anchor. Their torsos and legs are the same as those found in Lion Knight's castle and Medieval Town Square. Now, let's have a look at the minifigures that appear in the Medieval Town Square, and we get the townswoman selling fresh fish, but somehow she looks a bit out of context to me. Then we get the snake charmer, the merchant, who was actually tax collector in Medieval Town Square, then we get the maiden, and finally the wine cart driver. So by looking at them, you can see that the torsos are identical, but there are some varieties in leg color prints, face expression, and hairstyles. And we also get the blacksmith. The torso also looks familiar, and you are right, we did see it in the Viking village. And if the eye patch face print looks familiar, you are not mistaken, as we have seen it in the El Dorado Fortress set. Overall, I am not sure if I'm disappointed or not with this minifigure selection. On one hand, I feel I would prefer to have different torso prints from the one we have already seen in different sets, but on the other hand, at least you get 2 different leg prints, which means you can place your minifigures to different display options. Overall, I also think few more minifigures will make the scene more vivid. However, as there are BrickLink rules, this is actually the maximum allowed under the BrickLink Designer Program's piece to minifigure ratio rules. Furthermore, some of the minifigures have dual face prints, which is always a plus. Apart from the minifigures, we get several side builds, such as a boat and a wine cart, which both to me look fantastic. And there were some smart building techniques applied on both of them, but more about building techniques later in the video. Now, let's talk about the set itself. The first impression is quite strong, as it looks quite well from the front. This is a true medieval themed LEGO set, which get many inspiration from Lion Knight's castle set, but here and there you can reference the other medieval sets that date way back till 80s. Looking at it from the front, it really have a feeling of a busy seaport, but looking on the back side, and things get way simpler. Though there are still some nice touches, quite a lot of greenery, and there is brick built tree, which was not a joy to build. A few graceful archways and a solid gatehouse that gives a sense of security for the minifigures. But to be honest, I don't mind it that is simpler than the front. But what I liked about this set is its modularity. You can rearrange several sections, which make it easier to display on a bookshelf without too much trouble. However, once you start rearranging, not all the sections might fit perfectly as they should. Still, it's nice to have the option to adjust it. Now, let's explore each section and starting from the left to right. First, we have a small watchtower, which is a very simple structure. What I enjoyed the most is the crane mechanism that allows you to move it from side to side, and you can actually lower the hook as well. I really would appreciate if you could move the crane up and down, but if you try to do it, the supporting structure disconnects from the main part, which is a bit of a shame. If we look inside, you can't really explore much here, as there is not much to see. Also, the bottom part is entirely hollow, but somehow you can't really access it. This could be a really good hidden spot for a treasure hunters or something like this. It feels like a missed opportunity to me. Also, there is no real access to the highest point, where you can find a mechanism that operates a crane plus a flag and a fire torch. Moving on, we come to one of the first market sections, where you can pick up a helmet, some cheese, a fresh baguette, or even a donut. All the market stalls look great here, with a nice variety of details. There's also a small interior space tucked behind the helmet stand, though unfortunately there is no access to it. Above, there are protective barrier connections leading to watchtower we saw earlier. Interestingly, on the other side, it's linked to the main watchtower, but there is no proper door or archway to connect them, which feels a bit incomplete. Speaking of the main watchtower, it's one of the more detailed design part of the set. Facing the seaport side, there is another market stall. This one appears to sell exotic items like a magic carpet, a magic lamp, and possibly a cobra potion. On the opposite side, there is a massive main door, but once you step inside, there is not much going on the ground level. However, going up one floor, where the roof can be removed for better visibility, you will find a room full of interesting items. One side features 2 swords, then there is a chest topped with golden objects, and there is also an armor and a small book, ready to be filled with adventurous tales. And finally, onto the roof. This is where you will find what might be the most fun feature of the entire set, a working catapult, which is a joy to play with. Plus, there are even more flags here, adding a nice finishing touch. Next up is another watchtower, and the tallest of them all. At the lower level, we have a little bodega, where fresh wine is being prepared, and this space actually is linked to the main entrance area. From here you can access different levels of this watchtower, however, a ladder or steps are missing to get to the highest points. If we look at the interior of the middle floors, there is again not much to see, and at the very top level we have a massive torch and additional flag. Moving on, we have another market part where fresh fish and vegetable can be purchased. Above, there are defensive barriers, but once again, there is no real access to this area. Finally, we reach the last watchtower, which includes a small dock. However, like the others, it lacks interior details and the absence of access to the highest point is noticeable. Additionally, the base of the tower is hollow, similar to what we saw with the first watchtower. Once it is all put together, it looks great at first, but then you start noticing some issues. Not all the levels are accessible, and there are missing ladders or stairs in places. In some areas, there is a wall where a door should be. I am not sure if this would bother everyone, but it definitely stood out to me. I know I have been a bit critical on this set, but I do want to highlight its playability. It is not just for adults. Kids will likely enjoy it too. The working crane is simple but effective, and there is also a functioning catapult that shoot one by one round pieces. From my experience as a kid though, those little pieces can easily get lost, so just be cautious of that. Now, if you bought it when it was officially available, it cost 230 American dollars or euros, and for that you got 2,560 bricks along with 9 minifigures. If you want to buy it now, it will cost you around 350 American dollars. What I also didn't like about this set is that you don't get the printed instruction manual, which I always prefer to digital one. It might not be an issue for everyone, but it's worth noting. Inside the box, you will find 49 numbered bags, along with 2 unnumbered bags containing larger plates and pieces. Despite the high number of bags, most of them only contain a small number of pieces, so the building process actually goes pretty quickly. And luckily, there are no stickers in this set. Now, let's talk about the building experience. Aesthetically, the overall look of this set is great, as I mentioned earlier, but there is a lot to unpack here. Overall, I would say the build is pretty straightforward, with not many new building techniques to keep things interesting. In fact, there were a few times where I found it a bit boring because much of the construction felt repetitive. For example, assembling all those corner pieces became tiresome since you do it over and over again. I wasn't a big fan of the rear window panels either, but since they are hidden from the main display angle, I understand the compromise to save on parts. On the positive side, I really enjoyed building the boat and the cart. These two felt different from the rest of the model, and I found them more engaging. However, to my surprise, some areas, like the smaller tower section, felt a bit structurally weak. Too many layers were stacked without interlocking properly, which was a little frustrating. Another odd choice was hiding several water animals under the dock. Since you can't really see or access them, it feels a bit puzzling. The tree construction also wasn't the easiest. There were moments where the instructions weren't clear, leaving me to hope for the best that it would turn out right in the end. One thing I did like was that the base of the model didn't use flashy colors, which I appreciate. Official LEGO sets tend to use bright colors for the base, which are often hard to reuse in other builds. This set avoids that, making it a more versatile choice for everyone looking to repurpose the pieces. For me, this set is excellent if you want to reuse the parts. To sum it up, the first impression of this set is strong, but as you look closer, you start to notice that not everything is as well designed as it first seems. Would I recommend this set? It's tough to say. I tend to prefer more interactive building techniques and clever part usage, which this set doesn't really deliver. Everything is fairly straightforward. A younger version of me would have loved it, but as an adult, I want something more challenging and innovative. Now, what do you think about this set? Did you buy it when it was officially released? Or did you pick it up from the second-hand market? And what are your thoughts on the other BrickLink sets? As always, thank you so much for watching and for all your amazing support. Thanks again, and until next time, happy building!